Good morning, Americans. This is your favorite alien on Monday, September 9th. Sitting in for Paul Harvey today. No Bubba this morning. He's at the doctor's. But stand by for commentary. Well, Americans, Wednesday is that interesting day that we all use on the phone and we all seem to be recognizing, but 70 years from now it'll be just like Pearl Harbor. I mean, 9/11. And what have we learned from 9/11? Absolutely nothing. Over 3,000 people died in 9/11, and more are dying every day from the responders to put their lives on the line to try to save them. And don't forget about the military people that you sent over there to Afghanistan. For what? Really? And don't forget the people that died in Iraq for a war that President Bush just wanted. Really bad. For what? Let's take stock on 9/11, will you? 9/11 is a result of what I say the law of unintended consequences. What started 9/11? Well, put it easy, 9/11 started on December of 1979, 40 years ago almost, when the Russians, or the Soviet Union at the time, invaded Afghanistan and set up their puppet government under Najibullah. Remember him? For 10 years, the Soviet Union tried to change Afghanistan, but it's one of the things that they've never learned. They never learned the lesson of Afghanistan. I mean, Afghanistan has given a bloody nose to Alexander the Great. The Persians, the British, the Turkish, you name it, they've given a bloody nose to whoever the power was, and the Americans. And none of them ever learned the lesson of Afghanistan. Afghanistan has always been a lawless, governorless country. You think of it as a country, but really it is not a country. It never was and it never will be a country. You got different power brokers in there trying to get and assert their power. The latest is the Taliban. Taliban was formed during the Russian invasion of 1979. But their ancestors go back a long time. That's what you Europeans and Americans haven't learned about that. Then you went and helped them. You helped the Taliban. You didn't know it at the time because they were called the Mujahideen. Remember that? Back in the 80s? You gave them all the weapons. You gave them all the knowledge. They used it. Oh, did they use it, right? Well, then you had other people that came in after the Russians left in 1989. You let them have all the weapons. You figured, okay, the Russians are gone. We won. Yeah, right. But the Taliban took over shortly after that with Omar there. And then you had Mr. Bin Laden, who in 1990, Iraq invaded Kuwait. That's 1 year after the Russians left Afghanistan. And started harassing Saudi Arabia. And you guys went over there, and the king of Saudi Arabia at the time, I believe it was Khalid, uh, gave you permission to use a base and to establish an American base there. Bahrain, I believe, or Bahrain base or something like that. Anyway, you did. The Americans had flooded in 1990, both business and military. And you know, Saudi Arabia is the home of Islam. I mean, Mecca is in Saudi Arabia, in Medina. And, well, so, you know, people like Bin Laden, well, they started to have sour grapes here. And they started to find a way of getting you guys back. So they finally did in 9/11. Now what are you going to do? You have to get rid of Iraq and you have to get rid of Afghanistan. Wars that you have fought for not knowing what the hell you're doing. There's no diplomatic solution. There's no military solution to this thing. The only solution you have is if you can get together, which you never will, with the other powers and said, nobody interferes in those countries. Don't give them any weapons. Don't do this. And then let them kill themselves. That's the only way you can do it. But no, you're going to have China give them weapons, Iran give them weapons, Russia give them weapons, you give them weapons. So you have no guys to blame. So what are you going to do with Afghanistan? I don't see anything you can do. But you can't spend money forever, can you? This is your favorite alien saying, this is what I mean by laws of unintended consequences. And 9/11 was a law of unintended consequences when the Russians invaded Afghanistan back in 1979. Sitting here for Paul Harvey. Good day.